Hello. This is Jensen with Soft Edges, and this is my January wrap up. I'm both laughing and crying because I just recorded a 30-minute video. I think longer, honestly, at least 30-minute video. And then I realized that I recorded it the wrong way. Fuck. So, anyways, here we are. Excuse me. I'm going to try to make this much shorter. Oh my gosh, where do I begin? So this is going to run a little bit differently than I have the following months. I think I usually talk about decks I use, decks that were new to me, Kickstarter, books, events, blah, blah, whatever. And I think I'm going to kind of work backwards where I'm just going to recap any goals or things I talked about in December's video to see where I landed with that. Then I'll talk about books and then events and then tarot stuff. So, so at the end of December, at the end of the last month's video, I talked about really getting into digital minimalism, and I'm just going to TLDR, did not do it. Did not do it. Please hold. Okay. I don't know why. I think if I'm being honest with both myself and whoever's watching this, I would say that like most people, I definitely use my device as a disassociation tool where when things feel like too much, I'm like, oh, at least I can scroll, even though the scrolling is part of the problem. My intention was to watch a lot of stuff about digital minimalism and learn how to get away from my device. I just didn't, and it's okay. I did other things, which was fine. It is going to be my intention for next month to get my phone usage, you know, how gives you your weekly report or whatever. I'd like to half it. I'm too embarrassed to share. I mean, I know that other people share theirs and it's double mine. I just want less. I just want less. So whatever my secret number is, I want to half my amount by the end of the month. We'll see what happens. Yeah, there was just a lot going on in the world. I remember on January 9th, I remember this to a T, being like, how is it January 9th? So much has happened. So much has happened. So I don't know. I don't really blame myself or I'm not beating myself up too much for having to numb out because there's just so much going on. And all I can say is I'm going to keep working on it. So there was that. I also talked about wanting to do more in-person gatherings. And this month was crazy. To tie into that, I have a lot of personal stuff going on. Big life changes in my life. I won't really get into it. It's pretty personal. But yeah, it just had me in hermit mode where I didn't actually want to go out and do stuff. When I did go out and do stuff, I did I would go out and work, obviously, but I would go to in terms of social events in person. I did one moon gathering, which I do every month. It's honestly so healing for me. It's in those groups. I'm a self-projected projector, if you know what that is, if you follow human design. And I often have to hear myself saying something so that I know how I feel about it. Otherwise, it just stays in a loop on my head. So it's in these groups, it's in this specific group that I was able to voice things that I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that was in there. And that was really a big harbinger for change for me, was this moon group and being able to voice stuff and hear other women reflect back to me what they're hearing. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, it led to big changes, big shifts that I'm still writing out. And those shifts and changes will continue to unfold. We'll just see what happens. I'm kind of along for the ride, honestly, right now. It's been really hard. Lots of tears this month. There's just been so much grief and sadness, and also some acceptance of I am love, you are love, we are love, and just we're all trying to find our way back to love, and just how does that look, you know? Anyways, that was in terms of in-person gatherings. I also did an in-person astrology group meetup, which was so amazing. Where I live, there is not really people that are doing astrology within like an hour and a half of me that I know of. So to be able to like get together with a group in person and talk about astrology, especially the pivotal astrology that we've been moving through and continue to move through, has been so amazing. It was such a special treat to spend time with people in that way. I will say I'm looking forward to, in the coming months, I am joining NCGR, which I cannot remember what that stands for, but it's just basically like, my understanding is people doing astrology coming together and talking about astrology. It seems research based to me, like researching astrological events, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I've been really loving that. So that was in terms of like in-person gathering, which I talked about at the end of December. Didn't do a lot. It was pretty hermit mode. I'm pretty sure that will probably continue into February and March, and then we'll see what happens, but I guess I can't make predictions. Yeah, so that was some of the things I talked about at the end of the month. I'm just looking at my little list. Digital minimalism, how'd it go? It didn't go. Books I read. So I read 2 books this month. I read Of Mice and Men and Euphoria, and I loved this book. I think I was probably supposed to read it in high school, and I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. Like, I was like, how could I couldn't have processed this as a child. As an adult, I loved this book so much. I'll probably revisit it. I thought about it for so long. Yep, loved it. Next, I read Lily King's Euphoria. She's from Maine. I love this. Or, yeah, she's from Maine. Did I just say I loved this book? I can't remember, but I did not love this book. I could have not read this and been fine. I liked the way it ended. I was like, oh, that was different. I wasn't expecting that. But I felt very meh about this book. I have been working through the same book. I think this has been in like every one of my videos since I've been doing these month walkthroughs. I still have half the book left. I'm not going to rush through it. I don't feel like I have to. I've also tried reading, I'm working through Incarnation, The Four Angles and the Moon's Nodes by Melanie Reinhart. I also feel kind of meh about that. Why is astrological reading so challenging? I have to have like 100 astrology books. Seriously. And they're so hard to read. Because this isn't like cookbook style, meaning like I can't look and be like, oh, what is Venus conjunct Chiron or whatever. It's just, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I'm going to try to keep getting through it. I've also been trying to read Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett's Good Omens. Like, what's it say? The Apocalypse has never been funnier. I love dystopian novels. I think because this is funny, it feels different. I don't know. I feel maybe I'll like it more as I get into it more. I'm not very far. I'm on page 20. And I feel like meh about it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I read it when I'm trying to fall asleep and it gives me weird dreams. I'm also looking forward to reading Mary Oliver's Upstream. I think this will be really beautiful. As a way of coming like back to nature, reading about nature. Yeah, so that's books I read. How do I want to do this? Yeah, I'm going to keep doing what I'm saying. I'm going to do cards last. So what did I enjoy this month? So where I live, we've had more snow than we have in years. And it's only January, which has been so exciting. I've been loving cross-country skiing. It feels like such a beautiful way for me to like get into nature and get movement and moving my body because we're in a polar vortex, so it's been super duper cold. So I'm having a hard time moving my body in the way that I normally would other times of the year. But I've been loving cross-country skiing and going on the trails around me. That's been super duper fun. I have been sharing and bartering energy work. I don't know if people on this channel know this, but I am a Reiki master. I also use astrology to inform my readings. I also use, body work. I also use shamanic practices to work in body work. And I spent this month working with clients, trading with friends and like having them do work on me and I do work on them. That was so healing and so nourishing. I don't know who's watching this. If you are local to me, in New England or something and you want to trade in some way, I would be so up for that. Let me know. It was so healing. I loved it so much. I am looking forward to doing more energy work, body work. I have had a couple, this is like such good news amongst all of the like more challenging news this month. I've had people reach out and ask for me to come practice at their spaces to do my energy work, which I absolutely love. I'm so excited for. Yeah, so that's been such a beautiful part of this month. I worked quite a bit this month, like more than normal. I know I'm supposed to be in a resting phase, and I was still resting. But yeah, I did work a little bit more than normal. I've talked about this before. There's been a lot of sick people. So there's been lots of work for me to do at the school I work at. I also really this month got obsessed with this. Actually happened on the Mars Venus Sun conjunction. I started getting obsessed with natural fibers and natural fiber clothing, and am slowly making the transition to all natural fiber and natural fiber clothing. My body all of a sudden was like, no more plastic. That's it. Like, I have a moon in Taurus, so I'm not surprised at all that my body all of a sudden is telling me it really wants just to get back to my roots, of just like more natural, more of the earth products. So what that looked like is like lots of time on Poshmark getting like cotton clothes or wool sweaters or like leather and like sheepskin boots. I got some like secondhand duck feet this month. You should look up duck feet boots. They're hilarious, but like so warm. I'm like, every time I put them on, I'm like, this was such a good purchase. I love them so much. I also ordered from this English company, Hyde and Hare, this cozy sheepskin hot water bottle, which, like I said before, we've been in a polar vortex, so it's been freezing where I live. Like, it's -4 right now, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I got this sheepskin water bottle. I love this company. I'll try to link them because they were so lovely. I also got a new sheepskin as if I needed another one. They were doing a sale. How could I not? Excuse me. Yeah, so the sudden obsession with natural fiber clothing has brought me back to something I loved as a kid, which is when I was younger, I thought that I would be a fashion designer. Like, my parents, like, people supported me in this dream of me being a fashion designer. I thought I was going to go to art school. None of that panned out. Yet. I want to say yet, because I really am feeling something happening. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I got obsessed with natural fibers. I also started watching videos on sewing, right? I started watching, so someone gifted me a sewing machine 8 months ago. I finally took it out of the box. I got it opened up. It's hard. It's hard work. Sewing's no joke. No joke. I watch so many videos on fabrics, on sewing, on how to like work the sewing machine. It's going to be an ongoing process that I'm like absolutely looking forward to. I joined a fiber arts class, Threads and Sprouts. I'm going to like link her Instagram and her website, hopefully in the description. She's doing a 6-week, like hand sewing fiber arts course to create a vision board out of a wall hanging for the Year of the Fire Horse, which is happening, I believe, on the 17th of February. So it's coming up. And I'm just like absolutely loving that. It's been so fun. Not only that, but like my grandmother, who has gone into a nursing home in the last year, she's almost 90. She was really into knitting and sewing. And so I was gifted all of her embroidery stuff. And like, look at this. Look at this. It's been so special. I would say that I am not the most sentimental person ever, but for whatever reason, this felt so special to get my grandmother's fiber art kits and things like that and be able to work with it. And I really like feel her. I ended up texting her. She still texts. It's hilarious. And sharing it with her. And it was really such a bonding moment for her to be like, I love that you're getting into this. Like, she taught me how to knit when I was younger. I'll probably try to get back into that too. There's so many things vying for our attention, isn't it? So anyways, that's something I've been loving, is sewing and like learning how to sew and doing fiber arts. Again, I'm going to link Justice's page. She has so many cool patterns. She is big about like natural fibers and sustainability. I think it's like what I really like about her. So yeah, that's been something that's really been lighting me up this month. Okay, so that's that. Sewing. At the beginning of the month, I did a class, like Zoom meeting with the creator, Allison, Moon Nectar Apothecary, who made this Color Visions Oracle. We did a year ahead spread with like a group of people. It was so eye-opening and fun. I really loved that. That was super nourishing. It was so interesting to pull from a year and be like, that's gonna be interesting. But that was really fun. I did that at the beginning of the month. I think this kind of like goes into the decks, and I'll talk more about this later. But Sasha Lopez, the creator of A Long Way Home and When Olga Speaks, she was doing like a deck cleanse or whatever, like going through her decks, and she actually sent me Roots and Wings Oracle. So anyways, I guess I'm kind of getting into this. Let me think of how to say this. This is getting into the decks I used without. I'm going to do the walkthroughs in a little bit, but this just felt like part of the month that was exciting. And these are the only decks that made it into my collection this month. I didn't back anything on Kickstarter. But she sent me Roots and Wings Oracle, which I have a smaller version of that I destroyed with water years ago. So it was fun to get a bigger version of this. And she also sent me Obsidian Oracle. Again, she was just going through her collection. So I just paid shipping, and I thought this was so amazing. This is a deck that I wanted in my collection for a really long time. And just for whatever reason didn't get. And I'm so glad to have it now. And from her, she's like a really special human. I just love, I don't know. You should follow her on Instagram. She's cool. She does cool things and is a beautiful artist. So I'm going to link her as well. I'm a little bit all over the place. Let me come back to where I'm at. And just like I've been interacting with her a little bit too, and she's just, again, beautiful human, just like the creator of the Color Visions Oracle, beautiful human. I think on the same note, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to open up my pit. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. This was an absolute fucking pleasure, but the creators of Ephemeral Calendar, which is a astrology tool that takes your like Google Calendar or your Apple Calendar and downloads events, aka transits, for the entire year. I'm going on to my second year of using this tool. I love it so much for so many reasons. I just did a testimonial for them. I'm also going to link their Instagram, and you can hear my testimonial because I love this product. But they gave Soft Edges a promotional code or like an affiliate code to get 33% off a year of transits, which is like over 350 transits and write-ups. I'm going to go through it in a minute so you better understand like what the tool is. Like, so honored to be asked to like promote a product that I am so in love with and I use every single day, because there's transits happening almost every single day. I feel like what it helped me do is to live into astrology in a different way for many reasons. One is I could see every day the transits that were happening and then kind of like the read of it. So I can kind of be like, all right, how might this feel for me today? It helped me embody astrology differently and also have a different lens. I find that their product can be provocative. It's poetic. The word that comes to my mind, and I don't know why this is like ambrosia. It's kind of like honey in my mouth. It's like sexy. And I feel like there's so few things that are sexy and provocative. Just at least in my world, we don't lean into that right now because there's so many other things going on. But this has been such a beautiful way to really like feel in my body, feel in my heart, different transits that are happening, because astrology is happening to us every day. And this really helped me to be more aware of what's going on and really tap into the energy of like, how is this showing up for me? It also includes like questions that I can look at and either talk to other people about or include or like turn a tarot pull into it. I'll show you in 1 minute. I just need a little drink. Yum. Okay. For instance, again, transits for an entire year, $33 off Soft Edges people get. I'm going to put the link and code in the bio. So here's how it works. Hopefully, again, you can see this. So I'm looking at my calendar and you'll see all these green things. This is all the transits for January. So I'm going to click on, and February, I guess, but I'm going to click on the Leo full moon, which I'm recording this on January 31st. Tomorrow is the Leo full moon. And it will say, moon at 13 degrees of Leo, sun at 13 Aquarius, persona. The desire of this transit is true riz. I love this. I love this. Growth edge. Be cool enough to be uncool. Read. So this is a quote from Madeline Miller's book, The Song of Achilles. I would recognize you in total darkness. Were you mute and I deaf? I would recognize you in another lifetime entirely, in different bodies, different times. And I would love you in all of this until the very last star in the sky burnt out into oblivion. End quote. So the creators of Ephemeral Calendar writes, if Leo is the light, then its polarity Aquarius is the engulfing darkness used to highlight the magic of you. How can we be seen if there is no one to witness? There must be a creator and a consumer. How can you play with being both? So beautiful. So beautiful. I read this probably a week and a half ago. I'm still sitting with this. I'm someone with a Leo stellium, but with like a really strong Saturn and Aquarius. So this hits home for me in particular of, I do these videos, I do stuff on YouTube, which I've been doing for about 6 months now. And so this questioning really hit hard of like, why do this? If no one's watching, why do this? And I often come against like, this isn't landing the way, like, how do I say this? It's not getting the views that I wish it was getting and like doing all this stuff, but I still show up and create anyways. So even if no one's watching, why still show up? And I do it for myself. And I think that's like, this really talks about that. And I can go so much deeper in this, but I really want to keep this video shorter than the other one I recorded. But so the questions to think about, live into. So sometimes I'll use these as journaling prompts. Sometimes I'll use these as tarot pulls. I'll use these in conversations with people. So the questions. How often do you think, who is my audience? Second question. What would you create without them, meaning without the audience? And that really leans into what I was just talking about, like why do stuff like this? Why put myself out there, Yeah, I love this product. Again, I'm going to have the link in the bio below for $33 off. It's amazing. So that's my plug for that. All right, let me see if I've gone through my whole list. Digital minimalism, talked about that. The things I've been loving, talked about that. Sewing, the new things in my collection. Yeah, I think that's it. This probably is not any shorter than the other one, but at least it's in the right direction. So I guess at this point I'm going to transition to doing like the top down walkthrough of the decks I used this month. Oh, something I didn't mention. Actually, do I want to talk about this now or in the other part? I'll talk about it on the top down part. But thanks for being here. I'm going to do my like outro now, even though again, I'm going to do the walkthrough. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this. I hope you're doing okay. I hope that you're finding moments of peace, despite it all. I hope we can come into more acceptance of just the cycles and what's happening and just continue to hold love in our hearts. There are like Pam Gregory, Adam Ellen Boss from Nightlight Astrology. There are like different creators and astrologers doing things like 20-minute prayers or 20-minute like moments of silence on their platforms. And I'm thinking about doing the same thing. So stay tuned for something like that. I'm not creating that, meaning I'm taking the idea from other people, but not taking, but like taking it and being like, all right, how can I use my platform to bring people to silence and peace too? So anyways, keep an eye out for that. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but I am thinking about creating a space for people to get on and be in silence for, I don't know, X amount of time, to get grounded, to come back to peace, because there's so much going on. So it's important at this time. I guess that's it for now. I'm babbling and I can smell my food and I'm starving. So I'm going to go do that. Thanks for being here. I'm holding you in my heart. Here is the walkthrough of the decks I used this month. And good luck. And I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so here is the walkthrough of the decks that I was using mostly this month. So, curiously enough, I tend to change decks a lot. I have so many decks and I feel called to use all different ones. But this month felt quite different, where I was really sticking with, like, I would say a handful of decks for the entire month. So, towards the beginning of the month, I was choosing more like lighter decks. So, we have the Yukika Tarot, and I don't have the box for this, but this is the Root and Wings. And I loved the colors. I might have to move this over a little bit. I love the colors of these together. And I think what I really wanted to share was just the way that my practice looked this month is normal than it normally would. So, or different than normal, I would say. I really am a journaler. I've been journaling for years, and it's often led by my tarot pull. Oh, I love this. King of Cups with Father. Oh, these are just super duper lovely together. Look at the colors. I think I do use this in the walkthrough, but I didn't have the bigger version of this deck at the time, so maybe I didn't. So like I said, I normally journal and I live into my tarot pulls, but this month it felt different, where I was pulling and not sitting with the cards as much as I would have wanted to. I often felt like I was pulling just to pull, or I just wouldn't. I think there were more times than I have in a long time where I just wouldn't pull for the day. Like sometimes I'll forget in the morning and I'll pull later in the day. But this month I was like going through my journal and I was looking, I was like, wow, I missed quite a few days when it came to pulling, which is unusual for me. And I don't really know why that is. I think it's been years since there's been days that I've missed pulling cards, but I'm rolling with it. I think it was what it was. I was going through it and found like sometimes the cards would feel like a slap in the face. Like sometimes I'd pull a Two of Cups and I felt not very Two of Cups this month, and that felt hard. It felt like why are you taunting me? So this is the Root and Wings with the Yukika Tarot. I also was using the Quiet Mystic with the Yukika Tarot, and I thought this was a really this is one of my favorite combinations of all of the decks that I have. I think this is so unbelievably gorgeous. Just the way that these look together. Look at this. Like you cannot make this shit up. Ace of Wands with the spark, beginning of something great. Yeah, so I think that, I'm trying to think. I think at the beginning of the month, I was more likely to be pulling, but as the month went on, I pulled less. And maybe that's because I was using darker decks, which I'll share in a minute. I just love these together. I think these are so fun. The Tower. What's going to come out with the Tower? Reflector. If you want better, be better. Wow, look at this energy. So good. So rich. Yeah, I really love these. Yeah, super fun. So that was the Quiet Mystic with the Yukika Tarot. So I was using that for a majority of the beginning of the month. Then after that, I found myself using I'll put this here, Outgrow Yourself, which is like a tarot oracle. Love this deck. And the new to my collection, which I talked about earlier, which was the Obsidian Oracle. And this was really fun. This was just such a different deck to me. All right, let's try this again. And I found they were really rich. I do have to use the guidebook for the Obsidian Oracle because it can be intuitive for me, but sometimes it can be more challenging. Like, let's see what this looks like right now. The Lovers. How far would you go for love with Crow and White Candle? It's like feels cleansing. Grow out of it with Mushroom and Acorn. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's really sweet. Yeah, I loved working with these together. I think the art styles aren't the same, but I was really trending towards these like darker decks. caring. Got the crescent moon. And Venus. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I thought these are beautiful combination. I don't think I worked with these for very long, so I won't spend a ton of time on this, but I do really like these two together. I think it's just like the black background. What is limiting your growth with Canary and Aquamarine? Spoonbill and Labradorite with Win and Give. Yeah, so these are really fun to work with. Blue Moon. How will your voice guide you? With the High Priestess. Yeah, so beautiful. Look at the blue. Yeah, so these are fun. Like I said, I didn't work with these for very long. Let's see what I use next. I would use, so I must have been in more of a softer place because, and then I pulled out Quiet Mystic again. Let's see if I can like get some different cards. Yeah, I pulled out Quiet Mystic again, and this time used it with the Future Ancestor Tarot. Oh, this was so sweet. This was such a sweet combination. I thought this was so gentle with me, which is what I needed. The Alchemist with Harvest Season. The seeds you planted are now ripe. So beautiful. Like, look at these together. Gorgeous. Eight of Cups with Heartbreak Falls. Gorgeous. The Wheel with the Craft. Focus on improving your craft. Yeah, and I just found that these were so gentle with me when I needed some gentleness, and it brought a lightness back and a more whimsical look from the darkness of the Obsidian Oracle and the Outgrow Yourself. And I think I've talked about this deck before. I think something that's really special about it is it's really gentle. It's really gentle, and often what I find myself going for when I just need to be held a little bit by my tarot. I have so many decks that sass me because I really like the sassy ones too. Sometimes I really need that. But this month I was just needing a bit of softness, and I felt like this deck delivered beautifully. Two of Candles with the Spark again is super fun. Super fun. Something I really love about Quiet Mystic too is it goes with so many decks because it's so versatile. I don't know, there's something about the art style that works really well for me. Four of Cups and Starseed. Bloom where you're planted. That's hilarious because Four of Cups is just like, well, I don't want this. And it's like, well, make the best of it anyways. Let's do one more. It's hilarious. I watch other people do walkthroughs like this, and they're able to just like talk and chat and like flip through cards and go through a whole conversation. And I cannot do that to save my life. Oh, okay. So finally, the combination I've basically been on for the last 2 weeks is the Intuitive Night Goddess with Poesis. And these two together just, they just do it for me. Oh, sorry, the camera is so jumpy. Okay, let's see what we got. Let's do a little flip through of this. And I will say that for whatever reason, I've had the Intuitive Night Goddess for a really long time. Actually, the indie version of this deck. I often need the guidebook for it, which is really strange. But the Poesis is so intuitive that it really kind of would like balance it out, or I would be able to know basic understandings of, you know, a card because I've been working with tarot forever now. And then I could like kind of pick out the imagery and then work with what the Oracle card would say. And yeah, I thought that was really, it was different. I like using a deck that challenges me a little bit. The Universe with Connect. Queen of Cups with Practice. Yeah, for instance, like I'll be like, oh, I know the Queen of Cups is generous and like emotionally stable and kind and like the ultimate mother. And then with practice, it makes me think of like this repetition of how do you keep showing up emotionally available without like overextending yourself? Because again, these people are doing yoga, they're stretching. Like, how can you be flexible? The Mystic, Courage. And I love these together. Again, Poesis is a deck that I think is extremely versatile and goes with so many decks. And to be honest, I feel like when my practice had waned a little bit from using the Future Ancestor and I can't talk and flip. Future Ancestor and Quiet Mystic, this brought me back. But something was hilarious is Poesis, I kind of like shuffle and like let whatever spit out come out. And Poesis just wanted to talk in stories. Like there were some days, I often like to pull more tarot than oracle if I'm doing a pull. And I'm actually gonna like show an example. So I'm gonna move these. So for instance, I would be shuffling and typically I would have like 1, 2, or 3 tarot cards to like 1 or 2 oracle cards. And the Poesis would be hilarious. I'd pull like one of these. Oh, 2 came out. I'm going to choose one. So I'd pull like the Ace of Coins. And then Poesis would be like, well, let me tell you a story about the Ace of Coins. So it would be like, let's see what wants to come out. 3 cards. Okay. So it would say like, if you're feeling chaotic about your money, explore other ways to make other forms of it. So they would like tell a story and I just loved the way, oh, you can't see this. So sorry. Maybe I'll do like this here. I was just so eager. And like I'm seeing like the spikiness of the mountains and like the spikiness of the chaos card. The chaos like transitioning into like, all right, well, let's explore. And the harvest like brings it all together, which brings me back to like this Ace of Pentacles. I'm going to do one more. So say I had the 5 of Cups and then, let's see, we do Trigger. That's appropriate with Womb. Oh, and Rage. Wow. This is casual. Yeah, so this is pretty much what my pulls would normally look like, is one of these with like a story being told about this main card. I really loved this style of pulling. I don't normally pull like this. So this is probably something I will lean more into as I transition into February. I am still starting February with this 2 deck, honestly. I really love these. I really enjoy these 2 together, and I'm really feeling like continuing to work with this. So that is what I'm going to do. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I worked with in January. And like I said, this will work with into February, and I'm excited what else wants to come through during that time. Again, thanks for being here, and I will see you in my weekly videos and then at the end of the month to do a February wrap up. Good luck, and I'll see you on the other side.